But I start today with news that's actually no news. So we still do not have a decision from the Supreme Court on whether or not they're going to allow for President Trump to have the tariff scheme that he has in place. Now, President can have tariffs, but the question is, did Trump go about it in a legal way? And it is going to be a massive headache to unwind it. Will he have to pay any sort of back pay or penalties or anything like that? It's all going to be a complete mess if the Supreme Court overturns it. I can guarantee you the Trump administration has backup plans. They have the contingency plans. They're going to be prepared to try to impose tariffs again in a different way, but things will be neater and tidier for us if the Supreme Court upholds it. It's a majority conservative Supreme Court, but of course, when you've got Gorsuch, who's a libertarian, you've got Kavanaugh, who's not a hardcore guy, you've got, of course, Chief Justice John Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett, who are not hardcore conservatives. Though the court leans conservative, really the only dependable votes and stuff like this have been Justice Alito and Justice Thomas, who are the two standard bearers for, I believe, defending the U.S. Constitution on the planet at the moment and deserve massive shout outs whenever you have an excuse to do so. But I got to tell you, I made a prediction earlier this week on the show that what's going to happen is that Trump is going to have Greenland begging for Trump to buy them or to take them over. And you know how he's going to do that? He's going to do that with tariffs. So the tariffs are just getting going. They've been very effective. They've been very helpful. We've got money flowing into our treasury. People have reset their opinion of America on the world stage. People are intimidated, but they also are dying to do business with us. We are the true alpha. We are the 800-pound gorilla all over the world. And this is only going to expand because the tariffs will be here. The question is, will the Supreme Court allow for it to continue the way it has? And the second we have that decision, I'll give you deep analysis on the show of what it says and where we're going to go from here, depending on if it's an up or down vote. But we're still waiting. The betting markets predict that this actually favors Trump. So you're seeing people still think the Supreme Court's likely to overturn the tariffs, but the percentage keeps going up the longer they delay the decision. There's been a pretty rapid turnaround because I think they only heard the arguments in November, and now we're here in January. It's still January. Yeah, it's definitely middle of January. So it's still a rapid turnaround for the Supreme Court. But overall, the longer it goes on, people are suggesting that could mean that it looks better for Trump. I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it. I don't trust the Supreme Court, unfortunately, even though overall I think it's a good Supreme Court. I don't trust it to get all of them right. And this is one of these things that I'm always tracking now with modern Washington. When Trump comes in and he upends the apple cart, there are a lot of people who've been deeply committed to certain ideas for years, decades even, and they just can't abide it. They just can't go along with it. And when he points out things like, well, maybe we should take Greenland. Maybe we should buy Greenland. Maybe we should invade Greenland. Maybe we should have that for strategic purposes. And people who have been in Washington for 50 years, I'm talking the Mitch McConnells, I'm talking the Lisa Murkowskis of the world, people whose parents were here and they were powerful. And none of them thought to do this. And Trump comes in and says, well, we should do this. We should take Greenland. We should impose tariffs. Why should we keep getting raw deals from everywhere? We should have our own rare earth. We shouldn't be dependent on China for that. We shouldn't be dependent on getting our chips from overseas. We should make some stuff here. Whenever that happens, then they're confronted with themselves. He's making them look back in their rearview mirror and think, why didn't I think of that for the last 40 or 50 years? And it's very tough for people to do. People with big egos, just like everyone in Washington. And it's part of the reasons why the tariffs are, I feel like there's a lot of suspense, is because no one thought that anyone would impose tariffs at the level Trump did. And no one thought they would work. I'll tell you, it was very lonely. We've been very pro-tariff at Breitbart from the beginning. And some of my smartest, most consistent allies and supporters would come to me and say, you guys are completely nuts in this tariff stuff. Saying, no, we're not. America has been getting a raw deal and tariffs are going to work. And they said it's going to be inflationary. No, it hasn't been inflationary. Inflation's gone down. It's going to continue to go down as we keep getting money into our treasury. And I'll tell you what's the nicest thing is that people are kissing America's butt. They understand that we are the alphas. We are in control. And it's really up to us what happens, but we'll be great partners for you if you want us, if you want to play nice, if you want to cooperate. So I brought up Greenland, and I'll tell you, there is this quote from President Trump that we just grabbed. This was such a delight when I saw this. Can you guys play my new cut, please?
A tougher problem in theory, other than the fact that I understood how to deal with them. And I'm the tariff king, and the tariff king has done a great job. And I hope we win the Supreme Court case, because if we don't, be a shame for our country. Be a shame.
He is the tariff king. I feel like Jack Skellington, like coming out of the well. Like, I am the tariff king. I mean, that's what he is. It's amazing. So he's floating new tariffs to push to acquire Greenland. He's not going to stop on the tariffs. And this is what I said earlier this week. I said that they're going to be begging for us to take them over, because we have the ability to make people's lives very difficult if they don't bend to our will. And this is how Trump operates. That's why the word alpha fits perfectly. He's the power position all the time. He will be nice. A rising tide will lift all boats. He wants others to succeed. He wants other nations to be strong. He wants people to be prosperous and to build. He gives lots of credit where credit's due. That's what he's like on a personal level. It's what he's like on a diplomatic level. But I'll tell you, he's in charge. And if you're going to get in his way, then there's going to be a lot of problems for you. And one example of what those problems could look like, I want to show you this clip. This is the most unbelievable thing. If you're missing the visuals, I highly recommend the show airs at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on the Salem News Channel and is available to you on YouTube, Rumble, on video. You got to check out Cut 1. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, pause. So these are the remains of the 32 Cuban bodyguards who were killed by the U.S. Delta Force when we captured Maduro and did not lose a single man. 32 Cubans who were hired by Maduro from the communist regime there, January the 3rd. They've arrived in Cuba this morning. And if you guys see those boxes, they are tiny boxes. And the optics of this is beyond belief, that they are being marched out by some other military officials from a plane, and they're going to get buried or scattered, whatever it is. But the optics of these tiny boxes, I'm assuming they're cremated or something. But overall, this looks like these sort of monster dwarfs from the movie Phantasm, just like a tiny coffin for people. Not only are you not going to survive Delta Force if Trump decides that we're going in and we're taking out the bad guys, not only are you not going to survive, you're going to come home in a tiny box, just like an Amazon box that's got wet wipes for my babies in it. And that's all that's going to be left of you. You know how intimidating that is to the rest of the world? People see this. The U.S. is surging military assets in the Middle East, which after we had a drawdown, obviously this is meant to send a message to Iran.